Good Saturday afternoon. This is Micah Mitchell with Madison County Weather Updates. I hope you had a very Merry Christmas and got a little bit of time off from work and had a good time. Um, we need to get back into the weather groove here, and we've got a strong cold front coming tomorrow. So I hope if you've enjoyed the warm weather, you better enjoy it, today and tomorrow because it's getting ready to sweep out of here in grand fashion. The Storm Prediction Center has the vast majority of Indiana in a marginal risk for severe tomorrow. I personally think some of this could be upgraded to a slight risk, but regardless of whatever lines get put on a map, just know that there is a severe risk tomorrow. The main risk is going to be damaging winds. However, there is a 2 to 4% chance for isolated tornadoes. They probably would not be strong tornadoes, they would be short lived, but it doesn't take very long for those, for tornado to do damage, obviously. So we'll keep an eye on that. I think the biggest threat for tornadoes is going to be right in the kind of a triple point between a low pressure system, a warm front, and a cold front. So, while there's a lot of focus to our southwest for tornadoes, I actually think north central Indiana could be, an area that we need to keep an eye on as that triple point moves through the area. Then the most widespread risk will be damaging winds tomorrow. We could have non-thunderstorm wind gusts of 45 to 50 miles per hour, and then thunderstorm wind gusts could be in excess of 55 miles per hour. So here's a look at the high resolution rapid refresh model. This is beginning at 11 p.m. tonight. Today's high temperature is actually going to occur just before midnight. We're just going to gradually warm up all day, and we'll continue to warm up until tomorrow evening when the temperatures will then plunge. But so we'll gradually warm through the 40s today. We'll get into the lower 50s by late this evening, and then we'll watch into the overnight hours. This is around 11 p.m., midnight, 1, 2, 3, 4. You can see activity begin to develop as a warm front begins to move closer to the region. And then as we move on into the morning, it's a 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 a.m. You can see there's some isolated cells kind of through here. We keep an eye on those for maybe some rumbles of thunder. I wouldn't be surprised with the isolated rumble of thunder in the overnight hours or in the morning as that warm front moves off to our north. Once that warm front gets to our north, you can see the strong activity up here, and then you can see where the front kind of bends, and we go from warm front to cold front. To me, this area up in here, kind of, if I could draw a circle on this, I think areas to me probably north of even Anderson, but definitely north of I-70 would be the higher risk of tornadoes as this spin from the low kind of affects the area, and the spin from these two different the changes of wind direction between these two fronts could uh, could help with some spin as well. So we watch. This is around 1 p.m. tomorrow, 2, 3. This is about the heat of the day right now. This is where our temperatures will probably peak out. And then you see the cold front begin to organize itself to our west. Uh, the HRRR, I think, maybe has this a little more sloppy than it should be, but there will be chances for some isolated, individuals as storm cells ahead of the cold front. Those also we would want to keep an eye on for any possible rotation. Those will have the best chance to do anything supercellular. And then the cold front begins to push through here. 7 by 8 p.m. the HRRR has the model pushing or has the front pushing through here. 9, 10, it's got it out of here, and then the temperatures plunge. So if this front times out a little sooner, uh, the severe risk might be a touch higher. Uh, but we'll just have to see how this times out tomorrow, because it's going to be an hour or two of timing is going to make a big difference in how this plays out for us. And we'll just stick with the HRRR just for consistency's sake, although I think it's missing out some of northern Indiana here. But you can see this is by 1 p.m. wind gusts are pushing 40 miles per hour, and then into the lower to mid 40s, maybe in upper 40s around 50. This is around 5 p.m. And these are just non thunderstorm winds. These are just the wind gusts that we could expect. And then you can see that it keeps us, I mean, even as once the front is passing, this is around 9 p.m. tomorrow. Gusts are still well into the 40s. And then you can see those strong winds last well into the overnight hours. And by this point, our temperatures are going to be crashing. So we're going to have some very cold wind chills going on. That's where this model ends, is around 7 a.m. on Monday. And you can see the winds are still very strong. So then here's a look at our temperatures. This is at 11 p.m. tonight. We're starting to push in, right on the boundary of 50 degrees here in Madison County. And as we go into the overnight, you can see the temperatures warm well into the 50s. By 4 a.m., we're into the mid 50s, and by 7 a.m. again mid to upper 50s, maybe right around 60 degrees maybe for Anderson and South, but we all will get into the 60s tomorrow. Tomorrow's record high is 63. That's for Anderson's. Record high is 63 degrees, set in 1984. That's probably going to fall tomorrow. And then we can see as we get into the afternoon, then our heating of the day. This is by 2 p.m. tomorrow afternoon, and you can see pretty much all of central Indiana is in the mid 60s, and then by you get up here, Marion might be in the mid 60s, and then or Fort Wayne might be in the mid 50s. So very sharp cutoff on the temperatures, and in this warm part of this boundary right here is where we'll kind of watch for the for any spin. And then you can kind of see as we get in here is 5 p.m., 6 p.m., 7 p.m. This is where the storms are going to be coming right as at the edge of this warm sector, and then that begins to push through. So at 8 p.m. we're still in the 60s. By 9 p.m. we're into the 50s. But look, the eastern part of Madison County is in the upper 50s, and the northwestern part is in the upper 40s. So as this front comes through, there will be a 10-degree gradient just across Madison County itself. And then as this pushes on out, you can see then by 11 p.m. we're down into the 30s already. By midnight we're into the 20s, and then the temperatures will plunge into the overnight hours until we hit 7 a.m. We're in the lower 20s, maybe even upper teens. So any of the precipitation that falls tomorrow, if the wind if the wind isn't able to get to particular roads and dry them up, that's probably our saving grace, is that the winds may dry the roads up. But if any roads that don't have a chance to dry before the temperatures plunge, some patches of black ice may be possible. And of course, by Monday morning, wind chills will be within a couple of degrees either side of zero. And those wind chills may actually get colder as we get later into Monday morning. So, big shock between what we're going to have tomorrow afternoon and what we're going to have by Monday morning. I will say also, as temperatures plunge, we could see with the winds whipping around, this warmer air has allowed the Great Lakes to stay warmer. So some lake effect snow on and off Monday and really even Tuesday can't be ruled out. Maybe even enough to dust things over. So again, big shock. And here's a look at the National Weather Service model for the week. I'll put a forecast out tomorrow for the week, but here's just a quick glimpse, and you can see it stays pretty cold. Some of the global data, if you look at the GFS, it wants to, yeah, it keeps us pretty cold this week, then wants to bring a big surge of 50s back. I don't think this is going to happen, but we will be up and down the first half of January, maybe the first 10 days or so. I do think there are a couple of snow chances in there. There's a system that we need to watch right around New Year's. In my opinion, the models might be a little too far north and a little too warm. So we'll keep an eye on that. But, the main takeaway is enjoy the warmth today, enjoy the warmth tomorrow because it's over by Monday. And we're going to have at least, a 5 to 7 day period where it's going to be considerably colder. So I'll update you with any kind of severe that may develop tomorrow. If I need to go live, I will go live, but I will definitely keep you updated as we progress tomorrow or if anything changes. And in the meantime, enjoy your days. And if you support the page and your page sponsor, thank you so much for doing so. We're coming to the close of 2025, getting ready to go into 2026. If you don't support the page and you can, please do so. The information for it is at the top of the in pin post at the top of the Facebook page and at the top of the X page. So this is Mike Mitchell with Madison County Weather Updates, and you have a great day.